Join us as we delve into the complexities of Pope Francis's pontificate. From doctrinal debates to questions of pastoral practice, controversies surrounding Pope Francis have captivated both Catholics and the wider world. Discover the key issues, differing perspectives, and the impact of these controversies on the Catholic Church and beyond. The controversy surrounding Amoris Laetitia primarily revolves around its pastoral approach to divorced and remarried Catholics and the question of whether they can receive communion. The apostolic exhortation, issued by Pope Francis in 2016, seeks to address various issues related to marriage and family life. One of the key points of contention is found in Chapter 8 of Amoris Laetitia, where Pope Francis discusses the pastoral care of those who are divorced and remarried. The document suggests a more merciful and pastoral approach to such individuals, emphasizing the importance of discernment and accompaniment by pastors on a case-by-case basis. Some conservative critics argue that the exhortation could be interpreted as allowing divorced and remarried Catholics to receive communion without first obtaining an annulment or living in continence. They believe this approach contradicts traditional Catholic teaching on the indissolubility of marriage and the sanctity of the Eucharist. On the other hand, supporters of Amoris Laetitia argue that the document does not change church doctrine, but rather provides pastoral guidance for priests and bishops to accompany individuals in difficult marital situations with compassion and discernment. The controversy has led to debates, disagreements, and differing interpretations among bishops, theologians, and Catholic faithful, highlighting broader divisions within the Church regarding doctrine, pastoral practice, and the interpretation of papal teachings. The controversy surrounding Pope Francis and the Latin Mass centers on his decision to restrict the use of the traditional Latin Mass, also known as the Tridentine Mass, or the extraordinary form of the Roman Rite. On July 16, 2021, Pope Francis issued a motu proprio titled Traditionis Custodes, which placed significant limitations on the celebration of the Latin Mass. The motu proprio revoked the broad permissions granted by Pope Benedict XVI in 2007 through his apostolic letter Summorum Pontificum, which allowed priests to celebrate the Latin Mass without seeking permission from their bishops. Instead, Traditionis Custodes required bishops to authorize and oversee the celebration of the Latin Mass in their dioceses, and it imposed stricter conditions for its use. This decision sparked a backlash from some traditionalist Catholics who have a deep attachment to the Latin Mass and saw Pope Francis's actions as an affront to their spiritual heritage. They expressed concerns about the preservation of liturgical tradition and the freedom of priests and faithful to worship according to their preferences. Conversely, supporters of Pope Francis's decision argue that it was necessary to address divisions within the Church and promote unity. They believe that the Latin Mass has been exploited by certain groups to foster a separatist mentality and reject the authority of the Second Vatican Council. The controversy surrounding Pope Francis and the Latin Mass reflects broader debates within the Catholic Church regarding tradition, reform, and ecclesial unity. It has led to discussions about the balance between preserving liturgical diversity and ensuring doctrinal coherence and communal harmony within the Church. The Pachamama controversy refers to a series of events during the Special Assembly of the Synod of Bishops for the Pan-Amazon region in October 2019, which took place at the Vatican. During the Synod, some indigenous symbols and rituals, including representations of the Pachamama, an Andean fertility goddess revered by some indigenous peoples, were incorporated into various events and ceremonies as part of efforts to promote dialogue and understanding with indigenous communities. The controversy arose when images of the Pachamama were displayed in a garden near the Vatican and used in a ceremony at the opening Mass of the Synod. Some Catholics, particularly those critical of perceived syncretism or the mixing of non-Christian beliefs with Catholicism, objected to the use of the Pachamama images, viewing them as idolatrous or contrary to Catholic doctrine. The situation escalated when, during the Synod, a group of individuals removed several Pachamama statues from a church near the Vatican and threw them into the Tiber River, an act that garnered both condemnation and support from various quarters. Pope Francis later referred to the statues as Pachamama and apologized for the act of throwing them into the river, describing it as an act of theft and disrespect. However, he also defended the inclusion of indigenous symbols in the synod's events, emphasizing the importance of respecting and learning from indigenous cultures while maintaining fidelity to Catholic teaching. The Pachamama controversy highlighted tensions within the Church between those advocating for enculturation and dialogue with indigenous peoples and those concerned about preserving doctrinal purity and avoiding syncretism. It also sparked debates about the appropriate ways to engage with and evangelize diverse cultures within the context of Catholicism. Fiducia Supplicans is a 2023 declaration on Catholic doctrine that provides clarification and reforms on the Catholic Church's treatment of irregular relationships, that is, those who establish a monogamous and emotional bond that lasts over time and have not contracted a Catholic marriage. Notably, it allows Catholic priests and deacons to perform spontaneous blessings of same-sex couples, as well as opposite-sex couples who are not married, and civilly married couples, at least one party of which was previously divorced, but has not received an annulment. The declaration sparked considerable controversy and criticism among Catholics, including from several commentators, clerical congregations, and high-profile bishops, priests, and laypeople. Several Episcopal conferences barred the blessings in their jurisdictions or asked priests to refrain from them, including the conferences of Benin, Congo-Brazzaville, Hungary, and Malawi. The Polish Episcopal Conference suggested only blessing individual people living in complete abstinence. On January 11, 2024, Cardinal Fridolin Ambongo Basungu announced that all Episcopal conferences in Africa would reject blessings for same-sex couples, stating that the extra-liturgical blessings proposed in the declaration cannot be carried out in Africa without exposing themselves to scandals. At a closed-door meeting with 800 Roman clergy on January 13, 2024, Francis stated that homosexual individuals could be blessed, but not LGBT associations. He added the reason why the measure on the blessings of same-sex couples was rejected in Africa was that the culture in Africa does not accept it. As we conclude our exploration of the controversies surrounding Pope Francis, it's clear that his pontificate has sparked passionate debates within the Catholic Church and beyond. From questions about doctrine and pastoral practice to issues of liturgy and tradition, the controversies surrounding Pope Francis reflect the diverse perspectives and complex challenges facing the Church in the modern world. As we navigate these debates, may we continue to seek understanding, dialogue, and unity in our shared journey of faith.